Missed you all the last 2 weeks. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Scott. I'll be your moderator, your host, your guide for the next couple of minutes. Please keep your hands and arms inside the center at all times, and we will all do okay. So let's see here. While we are waiting for the slides to come up, this is the time where we stretch. First of all, let's take a moment. Thank you, first of all, to Karen. Where did Karen go? Good. Karen, who ably stood in. I got to see a little bit of the video. Really appreciate you doing this. This center is run by volunteers. If you would like to volunteer, we could sure use your services for all sorts of different reasons. We could use your services for the services, and that would work out really well for us. All right. First of all, let's take a moment. Take a deep breath. Get centered. Let the rest of the world spin without us for a couple of moments. Set an intention for what you would like from today's service. Exhale, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living yet again. Oh, what a beautiful shot. Do we have PowerPoint slides that are happening here? Or am I? Okay.
That's the altar.
Yeah, I saw that after I said it. It's a beautiful shot. It's what's right below. I was thinking one of the things I've wanted to do, there we go, is as we have breaks in the opening of the service, if anybody has an affirmation that they would like to share, I would love to hear some affirmations. I think the center would love to hear some affirmations. I have a favorite one that I use with regularity, which is I live in a state of constant abundance and all things come to me whenever I need them. So just kind of put your mind towards affirmations. And as we have space, please feel free to share them. Also, I wanted to welcome our guests and visitors and new people. This is a place, whoops, it went away, where it said welcome home, but we are glad that you are here. All right, so let's move forward. Welcome home. We are glad you are here. The next slide will be our opening statement, and we will all say together, okay, building up, no, the next slide will be Fun Day School.
Which we're all in right now.
Yes, which we are all in right now. For our immature child, we all fit really well. So together we will say the top half of what is on the slide. Oh, by the way, welcome Zoomers. I normally have, that's right, this has been rearranged. So I don't see the Zoomers right now. If there is somebody on Zoom every week, this would help. I'm looking at the microphone like I'm seeing them. I see them through the microphone. If there's somebody on Zoom every week who would be so kind as to either send me a text or an email that says how many people are on Zoom, that would be appreciated. One of my responsibilities for the center is I track our attendance. I can see how many people are here. I cannot see how many people are there. So please do that every week. And if I get a bunch of texts or what have you, I'm totally fine. I'd rather have too many than not enough. Now, that said, again, I'm on screen. Together we will say, we are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. Turn to somebody else and say, I honor the path that brought you here this morning. Every time we say this opening part about the spirit of love that lifts us, I think of that song by Joe Cocker and who was the Love Lifts Us Up Where We Belong. It always reminds me of, yeah, Jennifer Warren, and was it Joe Cocker? Yeah, okay. Yes, our mobile musical database who sits over here at my right. All right, our weekly schedule, which will go on the screen now, I believe. Things change so much when I'm gone for 2 weeks. So we have every day, we have we are preparing, no, we're not preparing for, we are preparing for next year's Twice Nice. We're doing it now. Agony! Oh no! They're throwing tomatoes! Okay. So we'll skip the weekly schedule. We will talk about Twice Nice, however. First of all, I should be sitting down when I say this next statement because I was not able to help out this year. It's the first time I was not. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. But I would like, if you were involved in any way, shape, or form in helping to put on the biggest fundraiser that the Center for Spiritual Living does every year, which was the Twice Nice sale, which took place the last 2 days, please stand up so people can see. And I will sit down. Thank you. And for our Zoomers, if you were involved, wave or do something so the other people in the Zoom room can see. Yes, Heidi. Somebody has lost a set of keys. They were on one of the tables. Okay. So let us. There we go. I think it was Will Rogers who said, I belong to no organized political party. I am a Democrat. I belong to no organized spiritual philosophy. I am part of the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living. So we're getting things organized here. There is the schedule for the coming week. You can read that. It will be online also. Now let's move to the Twice Nice slide, if we could, please. The Twice Nice sale brought in, this is over $8,000. So congratulations. And let me also say, I was just about to say, it ain't done yet. There is, if you didn't notice, our social hall is a little full. So if you are here today and you see anything in the social hall that you would like, please make a donation, take it with you. If you're willing to donate $100, you can take everything, put it in your truck and get the hell out of here. But there is that. And we will also be, during the course of the week, dealing with getting rid of all of that stuff. So we will need volunteers. Who's point person on the volunteers? And of course, Angelica, because she doesn't do anything else around here. Angelica will be point person to help this week. So if you would like to help the center by moving stuff away, getting it out of here, whatever you can, please let Angelica know. Next slide up is one that means certainly a lot to me. Our conversations with your inner voice. The next one in the series, you can go to each one individually. They just have an overlapping theme of conversations with your inner voice, but it will be next Saturday. A percentage of everything goes to the Center for Spiritual Living. This one, as you can see, is honoring your past. The intent, we had about 20 some people at the last session and had a great discussion. It was really wonderful. This session, we will have even more discussion, more breakouts, a little bit less on the introducing of ourselves, because we'll get to know each other through our discussions. And the intention of next Saturday's session is to take a look at something or some things, some events that took place in your past that you're having trouble letting go of. Maybe you feel bad about something you did, or you're still holding some sort of resentment or anger towards somebody. And we're going to take a look at that and learn how to turn that around as a blessing and to move forward. It's a very supportive group. It will all be on Zoom. If you would like to show up, for members for the Center for Spiritual Living, you could go to that URL or see me. And it's 50% off for Centers for the Spiritual Living. It's normally $19.95, but we would love to have you there. It's a great, great group. Creating your future. So this goes through January. And again, each one is standalone. I'm really pleased with the attendance and how people have gotten involved. Please see me if you'd like to know more. The little pantry, and then we also have this. Burl passed this along. Frolic in the Glen. Burl, okay, nobody else can see this. Where are you, Burl? The image is a little perverse. So for that alone, you have to come find the poster. It's two people in kilts bending over, and the kilts are a little shorter than they ought to be. Let's just word it that way. But that aside, I didn't notice the image when you handed it to me. That'll be Saturday, September 10th. It's a barbecue potluck picnic from 10 to 4 at Rohnert Park in Fortuna. We will post this in the other room. There will be a line to see the photograph now that I promoted that. Our little pantry waits to be fed, as does our community. If you can donate food, if you can donate any sort of non-perishable food, the little pantry needs it. It's our way of giving back to our local community. Please feel generous. And I think with that in mind, we will move forward. This month's theme, the last time for this slide, will be nature. There we go. That's our slide for this month. And our contemplative meditation will happen next, led by Les Craig, with music by Jackson. And after Les and Jackson do the, you can come on up, I'm stalling here. After Les and Jackson do the contemplative meditation, Angelica will come forward. I learned never to leave the mic. It's an old Toastmaster thing. Don't leave the mic untended.
This is from the book A Gradual Awakening by Stephen Levine. And it's about self-accepting mindfulness. The more we accept of ourselves, the more fully we experience the world. The more we accept our anger, our loneliness, our desire systems, the more we can hear others and the more we can hear ourselves. The amount of space that we're still denying to the distance between us and completion, because completion isn't being anywhere else. When we can be with whatever is happening in the moment, our sense of completeness will be present. Our feeling of wholeness, of fulfillment will be present as we open to whatever's happening in the moment. We don't have to do anything about it. Doing is usually the desire for something to be otherwise. When we can surrender into the moment without any attachment anywhere, so that anything that arises is seen with a soft, non-judging mind, we experience our completeness. We can be with our loneliness or our fear or even our self-consciousness in a very complete way. We see that those are just passing states of mind, and though they may be painful to acknowledge, the recognition of their presence is the truth, and the truth is beautiful. It means really accepting all of what we are.
I'm held in love, I'm held in peace. God is holding me with every breath, with every step.
And so, as we feel the acceptance of Spirit and ourselves held by Spirit, thank you, Jackson. I gratefully acknowledge that there is one love, one life, one mind, one soul, and that we are all in and of Spirit, together, exactly as we are, and complete in ourselves as one. And I know that Reverend Angelica's words today and that our time together will prepare us to go out into the world and spread that acceptance to everyone that we meet and to the world at large. And so it is.
With every breath, with every step, God is holding me.
Thanks again to Jackson, who always seems to be psychic with whoever does the meditation today. And thank you for being here with us and for teaching us, Reverend Angelica.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Jackson and Les. So after a week and a half and then 2 days of getting things ready, and I mean, the week and a half was getting things ready. The 2 days was selling and replacing and doing all these things. I want to really thank everybody who participated. So let's give them a hand again. That number that we had up on the slide, that 8,000, I put there because I got a certain number from Catherine, but I haven't paid my tab yet. And I know there's some others that haven't. And, you know, so that's not the final number. We'll see what that is. But as much fun, I mean, as much work as it is, it's also kind of fun. You know, I know my back was going, this is not fun, but my mind was going, we were laughing and sharing things, and it was great. It was a good experience. So thank you very much for doing everything that you did, all of you. The volunteers were absolutely amazing and wonderful. So all month long, we've been talking about nature, and we are going to take a look at the animal that we're the most familiar with in nature, and that, of course, is ourselves. And, you know, when I was thinking about this idea of really looking at humankind, I thought about how fascinating we are. We're really fascinating creatures. I mean, as we watched the people that came in to purchase, and boy, was there a flood of those, as we watched each other, et cetera, I thought, wow, you know, we are really fascinating animals, fascinating creatures. We're intelligent, we're social, we're creative, we're capable. And yet we can also be unconscious, destructive, biased, selfish, entitled. However, Mahatma Gandhi says, you must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. So when we're watching the news or experiencing things that are not pleasant in our lives, that doesn't mean everybody's like that. In fact, there's one of the things that I notice that many people do is that they'll say, you always, or everybody does. And we we tend to think that way, that if one person's doing it and we're recognizing it, that absolutely everybody must be doing it. But that's not the truth. You know, I even talked to Stephen Simon about this one time when he came to speak up in Vancouver. I want to do a good news show. I think we need to be able to look at the news and have all the good stuff that's happening in the world, because we maybe get a nanosecond of what's good. We don't, everything else is what we consider bad. So Dr. Holmes says, life waits upon our discovery of natural laws, our discovery of ourself, and our discovery of our relationship to the great whole. Now, if you look that up in the textbook, you'll find that it says his, but I just want everyone to know that I gender corrected everything I read, just about. So life waits upon our discovery of natural laws, our discovery of ourself, and our discovery of our relationship to the great whole. And that's what this teaching is all about, is discovering our relationship to the great whole. And what do we know about that? Well, I'm going to give you my two ideas that I give everybody that says, what do you teach? What do you believe? Here it is. We believe all there is God. All there is God. And it's done unto us as we believe. That's it. That's what we teach. And yet we forget, you know, I mean, I've been a student of this I've been a minister for 36 years. I've been saying 35, but I actually figured it out when I put that neat little picture of me getting the church charter in Hawaii on Facebook. I thought, oh my God, I've missed 2 years here. So 36 years I've been a minister, 36 years I've been teaching this teaching, and yet I fall into it. I fall into what I might call the world way of thinking. But I also believe that it's my job and your job to change the world way of thinking. And how do we do that? We change our consciousness, and then we'll begin to see the consciousness around us changing. So this idea that all there is God, this is not recognized very often. I think I've said this before. You know, after all these years, I've told the same stories many times in many different locations. So when I was a junior church director, I took this line of children walking around Honolulu, where the Honolulu, I can't remember the name of it right now. Junior Achievement Building. And we were talking about this idea that everything is God. And so we're walking around and I'm saying, okay, what can you find that isn't God? You know, and they would point to a dead leaf. Well, that's not God. You know, and then I would get to tell them about how this tree is life, and it, you know, like everything, the leaves fall and they become dirt, and, you know, then more trees grow out of that dirt, and the life is still there. So for me, and we've been talking about this a lot, becoming aware of everything in your life as being life itself is really important. Really important. So this idea of it's done unto us as we believe, you know, this is what they called the law of attraction when Louise Hay got a hold of this teaching. And she was studied to be a religious science practitioner as well. So like attracts like. And this to me now means that if I'm vibrating at a certain level, I'm going to attract things that are vibrating at that level. Years ago, I saw a program on PBS which was talking about the various strengths and things in the universe that scientists have discovered. And one thing they talked about, which I had never heard about at that time, was the superstring theory. And that is, there's like all these circles of strings that as they're moving through our bodies, the furniture, the whatever, the air we're breathing, etc., that they as they're moving through and they find one that's vibrating to their same rate, the one, if this one's vibrating and this one's vibrating, they're vibrating the same, then they become a bigger circle. That string joins together. And this is very simplistic, of course. And if they're vibrating, this one's vibrating like this and this one's vibrating like this, they'll go boing. You know, they'll bump up against each other and push each other away. And this is what we're doing in life all the time with our emotional body, is we're either vibrating at the level of love or we're vibrating at something else. If we're vibrating at the level of love, that, and we remember that Jesus said, God is love. If we're vibrating at the level of the divine, then our circle just keeps getting bigger and bigger. If we're vibrating at any other level, then at some levels, we tend to push people away. And I'm going to say that you're probably doing this at least once a day. We're probably pushing something away from us at least once a day, because none of us have learned how to live totally in love yet. In fact, we don't even know what love is. As little girls and maybe little boys, I don't know, in this life I wasn't one, so I don't know, but to me, you know, love has to do with finding the right and perfect mate and living happily ever after. But that's just a tiny little fragment of the energy called love. Love is about compassion and caring, etc. In fact, I'm going to share a story with you right now that I found online that I really, really like. And it's written, I found it online in the notes for these talks, by the way. And I believe it might have been written by our minister in Norway, because, listen, reflecting back upon the global COVID-19 pandemic, it was interesting to see how different countries, even different states, reacted to the news and information and informed their citizens. Here in Norway, there is a strong belief that the community needs to support all people and that the weakest among us should be considered in decision-making. That was certainly true with the pandemic. While many countries debated shutdowns and masks, the Norwegian people, led by a unified government, came together as a whole and followed the health advice given. As a result, less than 800 people in Norway died from corona-related illnesses during the entire pandemic. Less than 800. And although the medical resources, although the medical resources were available, very few were hospitalized or needed care. Even during the lockdowns, I can say I was conscious that I was doing my part for the good of all, even at the expense of my own personal freedoms. In those places where business was going as usual, the results were catastrophic. Our larger neighbor to the east, Sweden, had almost 14,500 deaths. For those of us who survive, let's ask ourselves, what is my impact on this planet and the people around me? Am I willing to be uncomfortable for some time so that others may be more comfortable or even just survive? I pose these questions for us as divine beings having a human experience, so we may be conscious of our choices and the impact they have. No actions are too small. We can truly affect many others in a positive way, so play big. The country that bases their government and their lives on caring and compassion for others only had 800 deaths. I mean, that's one of our cities had more than 800 deaths. I want to live like the Norwegians. I want to be one of those people that cares, that's compassionate, that stops to do little things just because. Around my house, I live right next door to Cutting School on Primrose Street. And I don't know why the wind has to do this, but if a kid has a candy bar and drops the paper, it flies into my yard, my landlord's yard, and the yard's about halfway down the street. And so when I walk down to the mailbox, I just pick up the papers. I mean, why not? And my landlord was outside working on his truck the other day, and he said, wow, thank you for picking up all the trash. And, to me, it's part of my responsibility. If my feeling for a really long time is, if I see the problem, I've got to fix it. It's up to me to do something about it. And granted, I can't fix all of it, but maybe I can fix a portion of it. Maybe I can fix a portion. There's that, there was a piece on YouTube one time, and I know I've told this story before, but it'll work here, about these, they were in a food court of a mall, some people were, and they were watching as people would throw stuff toward the trash can, and it would end up on the floor, and they would just keep walking. And finally, one person came and they saw this, they put theirs in the trash, and they saw this other stuff around the trash can. So they picked it up and they dumped it in, and the group of people that were filming them jumped up and cheered for them. And I think that's what we want. We want somebody to acknowledge that we're doing good. We want somebody to acknowledge that we went the extra inch or mile or whatever it might be. And you know what? The only person that needs to know that is you. You're the one that's making a difference. So you don't need people to cheer for you because you did something good. So I'm going to ask you to consider taking time to lend a listening ear, perhaps open a door for somebody, offer to help a stranger carry a package, or do something even on a larger scale. And by the way, I've only heard from a couple of people this past month. Every week I've said, here's your homework, so to speak. I'm inviting you to do this, and I'd like to hear about it. Well, I heard about Rick's, and I've heard about somebody else's, but I love hearing these good news stories. So I'm inviting you to take time this week to do something compassionate, and then let me know. Even maybe I'll cheer for you. So a simple act of kindness or compassion or joy or love raises the vibration of our planet. And so I think because we're in this teaching and we recognize that who we are as a vibrational energy being, a divine energy being, that it's up to us to do this stuff. It's not just about us anymore. It's about everyone. The Dalai Lama says, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. And here's another story that just got me. This is by Russell Means, who's an Oglala Lakota Nation member. He was alive from 1939 to 2012. Before I was 6 years old, my grandparents and my mother had taught me that if all the green things that grow were taken from the earth, there would be no life. If all the four-legged creatures were taken from the earth, there would be no life. If all the winged creatures were taken from the earth, there could be no life. If all of our relatives who crawl and swim and live within the earth were taken away, there could be no life. But If all the human beings were taken away, life on earth would flourish. This is how insignificant we are. I thought, oh my God. It reminded me of living in Hawaii, where people would come in on the Big Island. Land was really cheap for a while, especially after Oprah advertised an acre for $5,000 on one of her shows. Lots of people came in to buy property. And the first thing a person would do would be to come in and bulldoze all the native plants, the ohia trees, everything, so that it was just an acre of rocks, because there really is no dirt on the Big Island. It's a volcano, the side of a volcano. There's like this much dirt. I can remember when I first moved into my house, I'm like, oh my God, look at all these weeds and everything. This is really lush ground. I'm going to have a great yard. And I go to dig a hole for one of my rose bushes, and it's like clang, clang, clang. Oh, I had to buy dirt. Dirt is like gold there. But so they go in and they scrape these lots so that they're absolutely bare. And then they never do anything with it, or it takes them a long time to build a house or whatever they're going to do with it. And you know what the earth does? It grows everything back. So that when they return from the mainland to start building or whatever, they have to do it all over again. I always laughed when I saw that. I thought that was great. The earth will reclaim itself. Thanks, Brian. It will absolutely reclaim itself. We're guests here. This earth will do everything possible to keep us alive if we allow it to. And my feeling is that in order to allow it to, we have to acknowledge that it is life itself, that it is alive, that it's God in form, that absolutely everything is. And we have to acknowledge that about ourselves. So I celebrate us, because I know that we're the ones that can make a difference. Let's go to our affirmation slide. And let's read this together, and then we will go into treatment. Ready? I am a divine, beloved, and important manifestation of spirit. I am an important puzzle piece on the complex board of creation, and I am eternally woven into the sacred tapestry of the great I am. I realize and understand that all things are one, all is connected everywhere, and all things are God. So let's go into prayer. There is only one life. That life is God's life, and that life is perfect. That life is the life that we are living right here and right now. And if we've thought that it isn't perfect, it's only because we've thought it. And so whatever we think, whatever we feel has to manifest itself. And so I know that this morning we are ready and willing to begin to see everything, all of nature, as divine. Whether it's ants or flies or cats or dogs or horses or fish or whales, whatever it might be, plants, weeds, trees, birds of the air, it's all divine energy. And so I declare that we see it as divine. And as we see it as divine, we begin to see how well it flourishes. And so if it works for all of this outside of us, then as we look in our reflections, in the mirrors or windows as we're walking by, we see that as divine as well. We recognize we are divine beings. It's all God. It's all the one. It's all divine. There isn't a spot where God is not. So we celebrate this with every fiber of our being. And I know that regardless of the stories about climate change, etc., we are the ones that can do something about it. So we pay attention, but we don't go into an angry place. We don't go into a sad place. We don't see that declaration as a reality. We declare instead, all of this is divine energy. All of this is a blessing. All of this is working for the highest good of every other living thing that there is, and it's all alive. So we accept our connection with nature. We recognize that it has so many gifts for us that we haven't paid attention to at all. And now we allow ourselves to open our minds and our hearts and experience the beauty, the givingness of nature. And we allow ourselves to be part of that beauty, part of that generosity, part of that recognition of divine energy that is absolutely everywhere, including within us. We are one with absolutely everything. Even those things that we consider inanimate. If you go deep enough, you'll find the life. And so I celebrate us as we celebrate life absolutely everywhere. We start with ourselves. We see it in each other. We see it in the ground that we walk on. We see life, divine energy everywhere. And how wonderful it is to be able to experience all of this life, to experience the great divinity as everything. So I release these words into divine law, knowing that as I spoke them and knowing that as we accept them, that we will have experiences now of seeing this too is God, this too is God, this too is God, absolutely everywhere. And it is good, very good. And so it is. So we have a treat this morning in our music. Jeff is playing for us. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Let's set up some stuff. So, speaking of string theory.
Did you break one already?
Not yet. So at rehearsal, I still wasn't quite decided what I was going to play. So I'm just going along right here, and we'll find out later. Say when ready. Well, follow your instructions. You can read.
There you are.
Could be a little American. All righty, here we go.
that was wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I have two announcements that I forgot I wanted to make. One is, has already been made, that you can purchase anything that you want or make a donation. Please take it all. Catherine, would you be the one to take the money? Okay. Great. So find Catherine to pay. The other thing is, I went out in this hallway. Myrtletown is going to be coming in this afternoon. They can't get to any of their stuff. All those boxes need to be moved somewhere else. I think they could be moved under the tables in the social hall. So if you could do that for somebody, a few of you could do that, that would be great. Then they would be able to get to their things. And I hope there's not a fireman in there in their meetings. Yes.
Also during this week, we need to be finding destinations for the bags. They're all marked. And I would recommend just calling the places and say, what are you accepting? We have women's tops, we have books, we have whatever.
Yeah.
And then just kind of haul it off.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to do a dump run. I'm gonna pull my trailer up in the basement down there and put it in the parking lot as soon as all the vehicles are out of the way from the bushes, and we're gonna pile everything on. The dump opens, it's open. So
It's open on Sundays?
yes.
Wow.
If we get saturated in Eureka with places to go, there are also Miranda rescues in Fortuna.
Would you do me a favor, Heidi, and call them and find out what hours they are and what kind of things they would take? Okay, if you could call those people, that would help us gratefully. I will be here from noon until whatever, 4, I guess, tomorrow. And I know we'll be here I'll be here most afternoons this week until we get this place back into order. So, but we have classes in the morning, so it'll be in the afternoons, right? Okay, so because we are doing our book group, we are doing the various things that we normally do this week. The other thing I wanted to mention is that Amy and Edward provided soup for today for lunch for everybody who volunteered. So I don't know where we're going to sit to eat it, but it sure did look good. And we thank them for doing that. And I also want to thank everybody that brought goodies in during the week. Burl did in particular. She brought egg salad and tuna salad and chicken salad for sandwiches, and then ordered the pizzas for yesterday. And I mean, you know, we were well taken care of. So thank you very much. And so let's have our, well, you know, I don't like it, the side view when I look there. I mean, I've got to get rid of this. Go back. Take a breath. Think about that offering that you'll be giving today. I know we've made a lot of offerings already the past 2 weeks, but how wonderful it is to be able to support our center. How wonderful it is to be able to have a place to go where we're free to think the way we want to think. And so let's say this affirmation together. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses the center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. And the next slide has how to donate. Of course, if you're sitting here, we've got 2 bowls in the back. Oh, Scott is being Van de White. He's holding up the bowl. Otherwise, there's how you can give. So let's just go into a little bit of gratitude for a moment. Just feel grateful. Feel grateful to that one powerful presence that is constantly giving of itself to each one of us in all different ways. And at the moment, we're grateful for our prosperity, our abundance. It's so wonderful to receive and to be able to give. And so we're grateful for that. Absolutely grateful to the source of all that there is. And so it is. Next slide. All right, who would like to read our community statement of inclusion today? Thank you, Donna. Oh, let me mention that these beautiful flowers were delivered a few days ago from Casey Jones. Those of you who remember Casey Jones. She said, thinking of you, sending love and wishes for the best Twice Nice sale ever.
We, the Eureka and Ukiah Centers for Spiritual Living, are communities. Are we sharing? We, the Eureka and Ukiah Centers for Spiritual Living, are communities that celebrate diversity, foster inclusion, champion inner work, and create space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are communities that honor the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocate with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are communities that bless each other, see sacredness in all life, remain learners and listeners so we may grow together and understand that oneness is not sameness. We know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well. Hope.
Thank you. All right, so let's stand and sing our peace song.